Trying to do business in this country when you don't know how their country operates and works. When you're coming from the Western mind, you're like, no, it's 9 o'clock and you shouldn't close till 5 and it's 4:55, and the Greek will go, you know what they'll say. The key thing that people don't realise, and this happens in all of Greece, and it doesn't just happen in summer either. Greece shuts down Mondays, Wednesdays, Friday afternoons. After 2 p.m, see ya, gone, Dunskies. You can't find them. They're not doing anything. Come summertime, definitely not there. Come wintertime, absolutely not there. It's the siesta that we have. It's on our time. We'll sit back, we'll drink our café, we'll have our cigarro. We're going to close at 2 p.m. We're going to enjoy family time. We're going to go home, have a nice cooked meal, open up again, maybe later on, go sit in the bar, do whatever. They enjoy life there. For them, it's not about work. They don't live to work there. They work to live, and they don't need a lot. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel with me, of course, Arthur. For those of you that are new, Buying Greece, it's a business that I've set up where I help people buy properties in Greece. I help manage long-term investments, short-term investments, etc. And I also help them project manage their renovations. For those of you that are repeat offenders, thank you very much. I thought I'd jump on the channel today and do a video that's a little bit different, which is my general, why you should buy in Greece and da-da-da-da-da. Of course, this is why you should buy in Greece, but for a very separate reason. The other day, I bumped into a friend of mine. First thing he said to me, he goes, I love all the videos, I love watching you talk, I love all the information you're putting out, but you haven't really told people why they should buy in Greece. And I'm like, what do you mean? All my videos are why they buy in Greece. He goes, no, we get the money side. What about the beauty of Greece? Why should people buy in Greece? And I'm like, holy shit, he's actually right. I never thought of it that way. Why would I? I was born in Greece, grew up in Greece, lived in Greece, go back and forth in Greece. To me, Greece is Greece. Like, I just get it. But to those of you who haven't gone, and there's a few of you, which I'm not very happy about, I thought, okay, I'd do a video. So today's video is 5 key ways that life is different in Greece than it is to the Western world. Now, don't forget, I am on Spotify. If you don't have time to watch on YouTube, I, for one, am one of those guys who doesn't really like watching videos on YouTube. Definitely watch my own stuff. I hate it. I am across the socials at Buying Greece. And of course, buyinggreece.com.au is a website that you can reach me on if you have any questions, or if you want to utilize my services as well. I've had a few clients jump on. I will be in Greece in July, taking care of business for them and also business of my own. I'll get into that a little bit later. But let's start today's video. Number 1, life is generally slower in Greece. It's as simple as that. It's the Mediterranean lifestyle that everyone keeps harping on about. It's beautiful, it's easy, it's relaxed, it's this and that. You might have heard all your uncles and your sisters and your aunties and whatever just going, they go in Greece, they're all off having a cigarro, sipping their frappe, blah, blah, blah. They're absolutely not wrong. I remember going there for the first time back since we moved. When I was born there in 85, we moved to Australia, went back. I remember being in Greece. We went to the bank and the teller smoking. This is 97, 96, I can't remember. Now, of course, things have changed since then, but have they? I mean, they only made it illegal to smoke indoors a couple of years ago, and really, people are still not smoking indoors. So, things are a lot more relaxed. The key thing that people don't realise, and this happens in all of Greece, and it doesn't just happen in summer either. Greece shuts down Mondays, Wednesdays, Friday afternoons. After 2 p.m, see ya, gone, Dunskies. You can't find them. They're not doing anything. Come summertime, definitely not there. Come wintertime, absolutely not there. It's the siesta that we have. I mean, it came in due to summer and then stuck around through winter because, why not? It's Greece. But Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, anything after 2 p.m, things shut down. You cannot do anything. Forget about it. They've gone home, they've packed up for the day. Tuesdays and Thursdays, they shut down at 2, they go home for about 3 hours, generally at 5. Is where things start to open up, 5:30. They go to about 8, 9 o'clock, Thursdays and Fridays. Saturdays a half day. Sundays, forget about it. God's day. See you later. So trying to do business in this country when you don't know how their country operates and works. When you're coming from the Western mind, you're like, no, it's 9 o'clock and you shouldn't close till 5 and it's 4:55, and the Greek will go, you know what they'll say. So it's a beautiful aspect of this country where they go, no, we don't care. It's on our time. We'll sit back. We'll drink our café, we'll have our cigarro, we're going to close at 2 p.m, we're going to enjoy family time, we're going to go home, have a nice cooked meal, open up again, maybe later on, maybe not, go sit in the bar, do whatever. They enjoy life there. For them, it's not about work. They don't live to work there. They work to live, and they don't need a lot. This whole harping on about, the recession and there's no money in Greece and this and that. Everyone was sipping coffees, everyone was drinking drinks, everyone was doing their stuff. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that there isn't a recession in Greece, but the general Greek doesn't care. They're like, yeah, daughter, whatever. They're gonna go sit on their xaplosta. They're gonna go sit down on their beach chair during beach, and they're gonna go for the holidays for 14 days or 15 days, whatever it is. And they're gonna have their cocktails, they're gonna have their drinks, they're gonna have their cigarettes, they're gonna have their coffees, they're gonna have, they're gonna go out to taverna. Life is slower there. Everything is closer. Everything is local. Everything's a community. It's beautiful. It is just something that the Western world doesn't have. There's this sense of closeness. There's this sense of business is business, but it doesn't have to trump life. I don't know how to explain it, and unless you've been there, people that have been there are probably nodding along going, yeah, I get it. People that haven't, I really don't know how to explain it. If someone else does, please enter it in the comments below. I know I'm probably going to get some haters on this one in particular because people are like, oh, the Greece is whatever. But it is a beauty in itself, in the culture that they take care of themselves first and then sort of the rest of the world. And I say beauty because it could be the middle of winter. And I remember on a Tuesday night I was there in 2022 in wintertime. I thought I'll go for Christmas. I haven't done Christmas there for a while. Went out on a Tuesday night with a friend. 3 a.m. Tuesday night, middle of winter. We're down by the beach in a bar. And it wasn't the only one open either, mind you. And you'll still find cafes open. They're of course not serving coffees. There's cafes where you can go there and pull out board games and have a drink, and Tuesday night. So it's a whole different world over there. I'm in Melbourne, Tuesday night past 8 o'clock, have fun trying to find somewhere to go out. McDonald's is open 24 hours. Where are you gonna go? Like maybe Chiapelli's or what, like there's one or two places, but in Greece it's different. So that's number one. Number two, deep cultural roots, timeless architecture. I mean, I don't need to tell people anything about this. Everyone knows that we're all about architecture. I mean, look at the Parthenon, look at the statues, look at the Acropolis, look at this, look at that, look at everything. We're all about architecture, but the deep cultural roots. Greece is soaked in history, and we're very proud of that history. And why shouldn't we be? We're one of the oldest countries in the world. England's got our statues that they stole from the Parthenon during World War II when Hitler bombed the Parthenon, mind you. They've got them in an English museum, and we're desperately trying to get those back because it's part of our culture. It's part of our ethimo. Now, how this plays part into the lifestyle there? Well, again, the world revolves around the Greek culture. For argument's sake, this is good and this is bad, depending on which way you want to see it. But I think there's a beauty to it, and you can work around it. Anytime you dig there, you're going to fall under something. It doesn't necessarily go as deep as ancient ruins. It can do. I mean, for argument's sake, they've been trying to build a metro station in Thessaloniki, which only just opened a couple of months ago. But one of the main reasons that kept halting everything up is every time they kept digging an extra meter, they'd find another vase. And, it's an ancient vase. Stop, we've got to hold everything. Calling the ancient guys, calling the diggers, whatever it is you call them, call them in. Let's analyze this vase and which eon is it from, which ancestors belong to, which ancient god did it worship, whatever. Okay, we're good, we're satisfied, cool, great. Okay, we can start digging again, cool. Dig another meter. There's a clay pot. Oh no, let's call them in again. All right, let's go, come on, let's see what else is here. Anywhere you dig in Greece, you're gonna find something, man. Like, it's just, it does my head in, but it is also beautiful because they're like, no, this is our ancient ruin. This is our history. This is our story. We are going to respect that. We're going to honor that. The world can stop because this is 5,000 years old, 10,000 years old, whatever it is. It also goes through the centuries. It's not just ancient monuments. There are stone houses that have been up for about 100 years in certain places that are still operating, that the people are still buying and renovating and keeping the stone facade there. You get on something like Spitogato and you look at the villages of the islands in particular, some of the islands, actually more so the islands, you'll see these old stone houses that are kind of broken down and tarnished and whatnot. Now, a Westerner will probably look at that and be like, get rid of it, bulldoze it, throw up a slab of concrete. The Greeks will go, well, hang on a second. We can actually probably do something with this. We can retain its beauty. That's been there for 100, 150 years. Why get rid of it? It lasted the test of time. We can modernize it. We can utilize that stone. That's good material. And it's also, not ancient, but it's older material. It's generational. It's something that we can preserve. Throw a bit of timber in there, sturdy it up a bit. You know, do this, do that, whatever it is. But they reuse materials. They recycle things. They recycle history. They recycle architecture. Architecture is huge in Greece. They don't easily get rid of stuff. One thing that really surprised my mum, I brought my mum down from Greece over Christmas. She hadn't been here for, 2015, so 10 years. And I live in Middle Park in Victoria, if anyone knows where that is, right down by the beach. A couple blocks away, there's an old church. I never really noticed this. And one day she went for a walk and she came home and she goes, "Are they allowed to renovate churches here?" And I went, "Yeah, I think they are. They're allowed to pick up a church and a church that's, obviously old, decrepit, not in use, etc., etc." I said, "Why, do they not do that in Greece?" She goes, "Με τίποτα." Absolutely, unequivocally, immediately no. A church is a sacred site that they will not let you, firstly, they won't let it just dissolve away. Churches they're everything in Greece. Religion is everything in Greece. So firstly, no, you cannot get a church and turn it into your own little bachelor pad. But secondly, they wouldn't even let the church become that state because they appreciate culture and they appreciate religion. We are a country steeped in family, religion and culture. We are unshakable in those terms. We were under the Ottoman rule for 400 years, an Islamic state effectively, and came up and defeated the Turks, kicked them out of Greece. Architecture and deep cultural roots is another reason that makes Greece the beauty that it is, why people love going there and love being part of that. From a Western side of things, it's not the same. I don't want to take away anything from the West. I've lived in America. I've obviously lived in Australia. Not that family isn't an important part in these countries, but it's just not the same as it is in Greece. And for argument's sake, in Greece, people are still living with their parents. The grandparents still come into the house, like they live within our homes. My grandma lived with my cousins until she died. My dad, his deathbed was basically in his home. In our home, like we keep our elderly with us. We keep the kids with us. Now, granted, might not be a good thing. I mean, I moved out when I was 20, whatever. But like in the Western culture, it's more about get them out of the house, get them out of the house, get them out of the house. We want our freedom. And it's like in Greece, it's a lot different. It's a lot more. There's pros and cons to everything, but family and culture is a key aspect, and it bleeds through everything in Greece, from business to entertainment to social dynamics to love to life. It's a key thing. Number 3, which I think is very important, because Greece has actually got a blue zone, the island of Ikaria, and they touch on this in particular in a documentary which spoke about the blue zones on Netflix. A stronger sense of community. That's number 3 for Greece, which really should have been number 1. But anyway, it's very interesting to see the two different countries that I've grown up in, Greece and Australia, because both are polar opposites. Greece is Greece, right? They're full of Greeks. Of course, we've got other nationalities in there, but we're not a multicultural nation. Australia's a multicultural nation. We're a big mixing pot, right? Which I think is beautiful in its own right. And obviously there's pros and negatives to that as well. But culture within, and I don't really know how to explain this, but I'm going to try my best. Because of maybe a lower economy over the years, it wasn't really a rich country. I mean, it's not like Africa where they're pulling out diamonds out of there. It's not Saudi Arabia where they're pulling out oil. Although we do have oil under there, and I think we've got gas and we've got a few other things. They're not mining it as heavily, or if at all, as they are in other countries. So we're really relying on tourism, on culture, bits and pieces that we might be offloading into Greece, like obviously olives, olive oil, cheese, etc., etc. But realistically, it's a very humble country in that sense. So because of that beginning that it's had, we grew closer together as a nation. And what I mean by that is people weren't building McMansions everywhere. Land was scarce because it's a small country. It's spread out in different parts of the country. It's not like one big clunk like America is, or Australia or whatever. Greece is sort of like this and then like that and whatever. So things were, the cities are very close. The villages are a little bit spread out, but the cities are quite close. People are living in apartment buildings. It's very rare that you're going to find a single dwelling in the city. In fact, I don't even know. I mean, I know there's one around the corner from where I am, but they're trying to sell for 150,000 euro. Someone's going to snap that up and build an apartment building. So they're very few and far between. Now, because we've grown up in an apartment building and the apartment buildings are very close, if anyone's ever been to Greece, There's no parking anywhere. The streets are very narrow, right? Athens is a little bit bigger. Thessaloniki in particular, narrow. And especially when you get into the inner suburbs, everything's very narrow. So everyone's on their balconies, and you can literally throw something across, it's only 10 meters away. So you're talking to your neighbor. Your neighbor there is on the balcony. Your neighbor there on the balcony. You got another 3 neighbors on there. Then you got another 3 floors up, and everyone is on their balconies talking to everyone. I need this. Hey, do you have that? Hey, what's going on with thingos over there? Oh, hey, can you grab me a loaf of bread? These are conversations that are being held on the daily. I live in an apartment building. I only just met most of my neighbours. I've been here for 7 years. COVID forced me to meet my neighbours. It wouldn't be, even when I'm on the balcony. I didn't actually have a balcony on this one, but when I did, on another one, they're on the other side of a 4-lane highway or a 4-lane road. Like, I'm not yelling at anyone. I'm not getting asked them to give me bread or milk or anything like that. And a lot of these people grew up in these homes. The homes are generational. They've been passed down from family to family. The home that my parents lived in was the first place that my dad was born in. Whatever it was, 100 years ago, when his great-grandparents built it, it was a single dwelling. And then in his timeline, when he was like, 15 or whatever, a developer came in, built up an apartment building, built 20-odd apartments. His family had 8 of them. So again, within the building, there was a family all living there. The house that we're in right now is my auntie's. She passed away, we got it. Now it's ours. And then my dad passed away, and now it's mine. And essentially, I'm never going to sell that and give it to my kids or whoever. So there's a close sense of community always. You walk around the streets, you know the neighbours, you know them. It's even though we're in Thessaloniki, anywhere you go, Athens, islands, villages, whatever, especially villages. Villages, everyone knows everyone, forget about it. Everyone knows everyone and everyone's business, and chances are you're married off to someone with 18 goats by the time you're 17 anyway, because it's the village. There's a close sense of community that you can rely on your neighbour, you can trust your neighbour. Love thy neighbour. In Greece, they really do. Not all, of course, there's bad apples everywhere, but they really do live that law of life, and it's beautiful. Number 4 is lower cost of living, which of course equals a higher net yield. Groceries are cheap. Life is cheap in general. Life in Greece is cheap. Granted, they don't make as much. Your basic salary is 750, 800 euro a month, right? So you can't really stretch that out when groceries are going to cost you 200 euro a week. Can't do that. Groceries are actually really relatively cheap. I took my mum, and again, this is my best experiment was my best social experiment was bringing my mum down from Greece, and she was like, I beg your pardon, you're paying how much for cherries? $30 a kilo? What is it, $35 a kilo during summer? She came off the plane. It was December. I took her to Vic Markets. I was like, let's go get some fresh produce. She picked up a box. She's like, let's get some kerasia. And I'm like, yeah, they're $35. She's like, what? They're €2. And they are. And they're this big, juicy, crisp cherries. Not frozen. They don't need it frozen. They've got 25 countries in Europe that are producing it. They don't, but you know what I mean. The food is better. There's a lot more quality. There's a lot more, just more bang for your buck in Europe in particular, and definitely Greece. One of the main things that really astonishes me, and I love this, and this is how I grew up, and I'm so shitty that we don't do this here. Every suburb, not every suburb, but within a vicinity of every suburb, at every day of the week, for us, it's a Saturday. You go up the road, a couple of kilometres, it's a Wednesday. They shut down a certain stretch, kilometre, and I'm not even joking, a kilometre of a certain road, and they're blocking buses, they don't care. They'll shut it down and set up a market there, whatever dedicated day. And the buses know to go around that. People know to not go down that street on that day. It's Saturday, there's the lake here. They call it the local mile, the local market's on, so we won't go down that way. Or there'll be a bit of traffic. You walk to the local market and there is everything. Fresh, farm, brought, fresh fish, everything. And cheap. You could feed a family for €25 a week. And I'm not even joking. Fine, maybe more. Especially if you're cooking. If you're cooking and you buy spinach for a week, bit of meat for the week, bit of fish for the week, bit of fruit for the week, this and that, €40, and you're feeding a family. Now, granted, you got to go home and cook, but this is proper stuff. Bread, the freshest bread. Things are cheaper generally. Coffees are cheaper. Your rents are cheaper than anywhere else in the Western world. Bills are generally cheaper. Now, during the war with Russia and Ukraine, things have gone up a bit. But again, the government's subsidising certain things and giving people a handout. But in general, life is cheaper. Not for Australians, because it's weird, because when we go there, we look at it and we're like, okay, things are still cheap. They're not as cheap as we'd like them to be, because the euro and the Australian dollar isn't dollar for dollar. Yes, you're still technically paying more. But even with that inflation, it's still cheaper than what it is in Australia. And I mean, I don't know anyone who can debate me on that, because Australia is absolutely through the roof. And there is no reason why our food should be that. And it's also frozen and full of shit, let's be honest, it's full of crap. So, you know, if you want to go buy organic and farms, you're paying $30 for an avocado. In Greece, you go to the local market and you're buying €1, an avocado for €1, and it's already organic. Like, what do you mean organic? What else are we going to do with it? We're going to pump it full of shit? Why would we do that? Like, it's just a different mentality. So it's a lower cost of living, which also means that you can charge competitive rental rates as well. Now, granted, when it comes to obviously the living expenses, when you factor everything in, et cetera, it might relatively be cheaper. Yes, of course, there is still a struggle in Greece with regards to their average pay and their salaries and what they can afford and what they can't afford and da-da-da-da and this and that. It's the same thing anywhere in the world. But for foreign investors, it's a lot easier to jump into that environment, purchase your investments, and have them slowly drip money back into your life, into your account, because the rents might be 500, 600, 700 a month, you know, anywhere from 300 to 700 a month, depending on what you buy, obviously more, but let's just say. And you might think, well, that's not much, it's about $1,000. Yeah, okay, but you also bought the place for 50 grand, euro, right? 75 Australia, whatever it is. You're making 10%. Any which way you cut it, you're making 10 to 12%. An investment's an investment, man. Like, you know what I mean? So look at it that way. Number 5, Mediterranean climate and lifestyle appeal. I mean, we all know what it's about, right? We all know what Greece is about. And in fact, the 5 key points for this video should have been Greece, Gyro, because that's basically what it is, right? That's it. I mean, we're talking over 250 days of sun. The summer started end of April and will probably go until end of October. We're not talking 45 degrees, but we're still talking 20s, mid-20s, where you're still in shorts and a singlet. I remember going in 2022, I left Melbourne around about the 20th of December. Maybe even earlier, maybe 15th of December, whatever it was. Starting this winter in Greece, starting this summer here, and I was in shorts and a t-shirt there. It was hotter there than what it was in Australia. Now, it's not to say Greece doesn't get cold. I left early January, dumped full of snow, 2 days after I left. So obviously timed it perfectly. But like, I also went to Prague for Christmas, and I had icicles where my things are. So you know what I mean? Like, and then I went to Greece, I was like, oh, it's warmer here. All year round, it's warm. Like, you're not going to go swim. Obviously, it snows in certain parts of Greece. You go to Mount Olympus or whatever. You're going to see snow. It's going to be cold all year round. And different areas, obviously, you go out into the villages, you go out into the hills. It's going to be cold. Greece gets cold, don't get me wrong. But not all year round. And when it's hot, it is hot. It's basically a permanent vacation vibe. Be on an island, be on the mainland, be in a village, be by the beach. It's vacation land. It's vacation time. In summertime is where you feel it the most, because you add in all these factors that makes up the Mediterranean lifestyle. You add up the food, which is fresh, right? There's nothing like a freshly cut Greek salad in the middle of summer at 2 p.m. when the world's shut down around you and you're sitting by a beach and it costs you €8. And someone's yayas made it. And that's all 5 key elements combined. And that is the beauty of Greece. It's the Mediterranean lifestyle. Investors are buying into a global dream destination. They're not just buying for money. You can make money anywhere in the world, but the reason why Greece in particular is booming is because of all these key elements that are coming together that people from all over the world don't actually get access to this. We take it for granted. And I never really thought about that. We take things for granted in Greece. We complain. Everyone's going to complain. I'm in Australia and we complain here as well, believe me. And some people from Greece go, oh, you're in Australia, it must be amazing. Sure. To some people it is. To others, they're like, I would never leave Greece for the life of me. But the difference is that people are flocking to Greece. People are flocking to buy there. Investments are going through the roof. Money's been made. And it's not just necessarily transaction. It's not just like, I just want to make money and see you later. People are buying. The majority of the people that I've spoken to are just wanting to leave the Western world and go and retire in Greece. And why wouldn't you? With those 5 key elements, with an island that's one of the blue zones, with the lifestyle, the culture, the religion, whatever. You might not be religious, but you still take appreciation. You still respect what goes on. The food, the weather, it really is unbeatable. And that's probably why people buy in Greece. I'm going to leave it on that note because I think that's a very beautiful, positive note to leave it on. If you do want to utilize my services, buyinggreece.com.au. You can get in touch with me that way. Or you can hit me up on any of the socials at Buy in Greece. Obviously, I'm on Spotify as well if you want to listen to the podcast. I am in Greece this July, working for a few people while I'm over there as well. I'm also renovating my own places, so I will be posting those videos up as I get them. And it's getting cold here, so I'm getting ready to leave. So hit me up in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. But thank you very much, and until next week.